Hello there guys, it's me Unstable Voltage and welcome to episode 9 of Europa Universalis IV. We've now pieced out with France. We are currently working to convert some cores that we have over here on Poitou and also up here on Aberdeen. We're trying to make them part of our own land. We're very low on manpower at the moment, so we do need to recover that as quickly as we can. We're also quite low on money. A lot of that is coming from the fact that we have massive army maintenance. Now, the reason that we have such massive army maintenance is because that our units are absolutely decimated at the moment. And what I'm going to do right now, actually, is consolidate these guys over here in England and just make them into a smaller army. So they'll stop reinforcing, and that's instantly saved us a ton of gold. It does mean this army isn't going to get any bigger, but I think at the moment that's fine because we're not at war with anybody, and I don't think we're going to end up being at war with anybody too soon. These guys over here, however, do need to reinforce. I'm going to leave them where they are respectively on... Well, we don't need to be down here anymore on Labor, to be honest, because we did actually get rid of the revolt that was down there. So we'll put this army on Poitou, and then they can sit there and... because this army's got a little bit too much cavalry at the moment. I'm not going to consolidate these guys because I want them to reinforce. I want them to get bigger. I'm going to merge them together. But as you can see, what we actually have is 11 regiments of infantry and 6 regiments of cavalry. So this technically should be a 17 stack, but currently it's only a 7 stack because we have very low numbers. In fact, some of these regiments have 0 men in them. So if we was to consolidate these regiments, this army, we would lose like... Well, we'd lose 10 regiments essentially. So we're going to leave them as they are at the moment. So... Units of civil casualties, we know. Revolts, Poitou and Aberdeen are the only places that we've potentially got some to come. Now, the problem we're going to have with Aberdeen is if we get a revolt there, it's going to be difficult to actually move troops up there, unless, of course, we do it via ship, which is quite possible. So, merchants harassed. We have two options here. We can either have England gaining a diplomatic insult CB against Burgundy, or Burgundy's... Oh, excuse me. Or Burgundy's opinion of England can be changed by +50. I'm going to let Burgundy stay happy with me if possible, because I don't want them to declare war on me at this point, because they may be a very valuable ally in trying to break up France even more in the future, so we'll let that continue on. Going to have a look at myself here. Now, what we can actually see is we have quite few diplomatic relations. We have an alliance and a royal marriage with both Portugal and Castile, which is nice, but it does give us the option to try and set up some vassals, which is one of the things that we are working on. We are currently working with trying to improve our relations with Munster, and things are actually going quite well with them at the moment. I mean, they do have a positive opinion of us now. If we were to go into alliance actions... where's vassalization? Offer vassalization. Must have a military alliance, must have a relation of at least 190, must have the same religion, and the target country must be at peace. Well, we have the same religion. We could get a military alliance if we wanted one, but it's going to take us a while to get up to 190, especially with the aggressive expansion that we have. So we're not going to bother doing that just now. What we would also want to consider doing though is maybe getting Leinster on side as well. So we're going to go in there and we are going to improve relations. Now bear in mind you can only improve relations and do so many things at once, because there is a limit to the number of diplomats you have. At the moment we only have 2 diplomats, and those diplomats are now both busy improving relations. But you do get more as the game goes on. You do get various ideas and technologies that allow you to get more. So let's just have a little bit of a look around the rest of the world and see if we can see what's going on. Doesn't look like Castile is making much progress towards conquering Granada and Navarra. It's normally part of what Castile try to do. Castile and Aragon often end up at war with each other, and in fact they both have each other rivaled, which is perfectly understandable. What Castile will try and do is take over Granada, take over Navarra, and then eventually integrate Aragon to become Spain. Aragon usually have Naples as a vassal. Let's have a look. Leading personal union with Naples, yeah. So Naples actually belongs to Aragon as well in some small respect. So what you've got to remember is that there are quite a lot of alliances between various different nations and factions. Don't forget as well, Castile also own the Canary Islands down here. And you've got... can't remember what that island's called now. But that's currently owned by Portugal. Now, you will notice, I think I've mentioned it before, lots of bits of the map are white, and that is Terra Incognita. And also, we've got the sea out here, which it says Terra Incognita, but it shouldn't be Terra, because Terra is land. It should be, can't remember what it is for sea. But yeah, it shouldn't be Terra Incognita. You can only go into Terra Incognita if you have an explorer. You need a conquistador to explore Terra Incognita on land, and you need an explorer to go and uncover it in water. There are other ways to discover what's beyond there as well, because sometimes other nations will make a discovery and it will organically spread. Okay, so I'm hitting pause there really quickly because Scottish Patriots have risen up in Aberdeen. So we would like to go and deal with that. I also noticed that Portugal are getting some down there. So how big is the revolt? It's a stack of 7. That's quite substantial. We don't really have any manpower to reinforce at this point either. So what we're going to do is, as expensive as it is, we are going to hire ourselves a few mercenaries. We actually ran out of money there, which is hardly surprising. We're going to have to go in and take ourselves another loan. We might actually have to take a couple. Now, one thing that we will be able to do is when we're at peace, we'll be able to drop our army maintenance, which will drop the army's morale considerably, but it does have the advantage of being able to save us a little bit of money. I also just noticed up there that the Orkney Islands and the Shetland Islands are both owned by Norway as well, which is actually quite interesting. Scotland aren't currently at war. Norway aren't currently at war either, which is quite interesting. So all these regiments are going to get together and form up in London. If you just drag a box, it will only select the army units. I think you have to hit Control to select. Yeah, if you hold down Control and drag a box, it will select the naval units instead. So that's about as big as this army is going to get. We've got 16 transports, which will be enough. We're going to group them together. We're going to attach them to the transport. We're going to select the transport, and we're actually going to drop on Aberdeen. It's probably not going to work out too great for us, because we are going to get a crossing penalty and a terrain penalty by landing here. But we need to stop them from sieging it, so it needs to be done. We have arrived. They are peasants, so they're not going to be too difficult to... Although the Patriots, sorry. But we should beat them quite nicely. Although if they keep getting good rolls like that, it's going to cause some issues. And one more tick, hopefully. There we go. And that has actually been won. So what we're going to do there is we're going to click this button, which will detach the mercenaries. We're going to select the mercenary regiment. We know they're mercenaries because they're all in green. And we're going to go ahead and disband them. We don't need them now. We'll leave this unit here. Hopefully rebels won't rise up, because if rebels do rise up while this unit is very, very small, it's going to get absolutely flattened. But Aberdeen is 80% cored now, so it won't be too long before that becomes our core. We won't have to worry about it anymore. Poitou is going to take a little bit longer. Now, the length of time it takes to core a province is usually dictated by its tax base. Poitou has a tax base value of 6 ducats, which is quite high, and Aberdeen is probably 2 or 3? No, 4. Aberdeen is 4. So there's a little bit less over here. Does have a Scottish culture, so we could think about going in and changing the culture of Aberdeen, but we probably won't do that. Burgundy has now entered into the military alliance, military coalition against us. Now, that, like I said, it is because we have so much aggressive expansion. It is possible that that will reduce over time, and in fact, it will do. If we go and have a look at Burgundy, we can see what their opinion is of us. It's the English opinion of Burgundy. So whenever you see these two things here, whenever you click on a nation, the top one is their attitude towards you, and the bottom one is your attitude towards them. So Burgundy's opinion of England is minus 182. Now, but bear in mind the maximum is 200, minus 200 or positive 200. So we get plus 10 for having the same religion, but minus 75 for being rivals. We get plus 20 for being the enemy of their enemy, because we're rivaled with France, which gives us plus 1 monthly. But we have hostile relations, have a claim, Cassius Belli, embargo. There's a lot of things there that give us a negative penalty, but you can see there, aggressive expansion minus 36, but it goes up by plus 3.1 yearly. So as time goes on, it will actually reduce the amount of aggressive expansion we have with them. We are competing great powers, and you can also see they want Co, Normandy, and Kent. They can bog off, but they want them. So we're just going to let things go on. We are going to try and finish coring these provinces. Now, one thing you will do, if you have a look on the outliner here on the right-hand side, you can see that our armies show, as well as our navies. You can actually see that Blue Squadron there actually has a little green T next to them. Now that means that they are protecting trade, so it's a good way to find what your trade fleets are. Another thing that's quite useful that you can do is you can actually click on a navy. It works with armies as well, and you can actually click up here in the top left hand corner on their name, and you can actually rename them. And that's quite useful if you want to name a not bothered about that. That's quite useful if you want to name an army, or you can even name individual ships as well, and you can name individual regiments. So it's quite useful if you want. You might want to give that a name and say, like, call it Trade North Sea, so that you always know if you move it somewhere that it is the ships that are supposed to be protecting trade in the North Sea. Aberdeen is now considered part of our patrimony. So Aberdeen is now cored. That reduces our overextension drastically. If we go into stability and expansion, you can see that our overextension has gone from 40 down to 24. Poitou still has the chance of some rebels. So does Aberdeen. It wants to defect to Scotland. So what will basically happen is, with either of these provinces, if the rebels pop up and manage to siege the province, and we give in to their demands, it will actually flip and belong to somebody else. We could go for harsh treatment here. What we could also do is, oh, it has nationalism, so we can't actually try and flip its flip the province. But what we will do is, we do have quite a bit of military power, so we will go in and use harsh treatment. You can do it from this screen as well. If you actually click on the province, it tells you what the revolt risk is here. We'll use harsh treatment, and that will give us what, 15 years of reduced revolt risk. So we'll stomp that into the ground. And now the revolt risk is completely gone from Aberdeen, at least for 15 years. Let's get these guys on the transport. Let's get the transports back down to London. And let's go ahead and unpause the game. Still some revolt risk in Poitou. Now, one thing you will notice on Aberdeen is, even though it is now our core, it's also still a core of Scotland. Just because we've turned around and said this land is ours, it belongs to us, doesn't mean that Scotland have forgotten that it used to belong to them. And at some point, they will probably want it back. In fact, they will actually automatically have a reconquest casus belli against us. If we actually look on Scotland, and we can see Scotland has the reconquest casus belli against England. They hold provinces that are rightfully ours. Scotland may use this cause as a reason for declaring war against England. So Scotland, when the peace treaty times out, would be able to declare war against us because they want Aberdeen back, which makes a lot of sense when you think about it. So we still have a little bit of papal influence here. We're actually sort of winning the votes for this guy, although he is 58, may well die. Do we want to spend any papal influence anywhere else and potentially try to get another one? We could use it again on this guy. This guy was obviously born in England. He is English. Look, his name's Smith. He's clearly English. So what we'll do is we'll also fight for this guy as well. So we'll constantly try and keep him on our side, and we may even end up becoming the papal controller at some point. Not an awful lot of anything interesting going on at the moment. Every now and then I do actually like to go into the ledger, have a quick look at the current wars. because sometimes it's nice to see if there's anything going on near you that may affect you. Quite a lot of this stuff isn't, and you will also find stuff in here that is part of countries that you haven't even met yet. The most local thing that is going... I mean, look at this. The Miami Conquest of Illinois. We haven't even found the New World yet, so how do we know what's going on over there? The closest thing that's going on to us at the moment is going to be the Danish reconquest of Schleswig, which is Denmark, Saxe-Luxembourg... Oh, Lauenburg, my apologies. Sweden and Norway versus Austria... Holstein, Baden, Salzburg, Luneburg, Utrecht, Trier, and Brandenburg. So pretty much most of the HRE against Denmark and Sweden, which is mostly what that war is all about. So it's pretty much this area here that's in a massive fight at the moment. But that's fine. Not too much of a problem for me, so go ahead and unpause. So we did still have some revolts up there, which seems to have gone by. I noticed that Scotland hasn't, or doesn't appear to have gone up here and tried to deal with this. So I can't see Scotland's forces anymore. So they may have gone up there to try and unsiege that. So one thing you might notice now as well is our army force limit has gone up. I think before it was 36, it's now 38, and that of course is because we have more land to call our own. You'll notice the same with navy as well. We actually have a naval limit of 57. I think it was about 53 before, and that'll be because we've taken Poitou, so we've got a little bit more naval coastline that we can now use. So things are not going too bad at the moment. It's nice that we've not only got these two provinces back, but also managed to get an extra one from them as well. It would be nice to try and take sort of Armagnac and Bern, because we could potentially vassalize them. In fact, what is Bern's opinion of us? Yeah, they're actually outraged. Foire views England as an aggressive conqueror and seeks to cut them down to size. They may form the backbone of a coalition against them. So yeah, we're probably not going to get friendly with Foire at any point soon. But, you know, things will change over time. In fact, we can see who's in the coalition against us if we right-click on our nation and we actually have a look at this, the two crossed flags with the sword through them. We can see that it's Brittany, Burgundy and France that are in the coalition against us. Remember, though, we are allied with Castile and Portugal, so they would be taking us on as well. Portugal's defensive against us, but they do still like us on the whole. And if we just have a quick look down here at Castile. Castile like us, you know, we're good friends. They're willing to trust us. Would be nice if we could improve our relationship somewhat with Portugal, but that will take a little while because we don't have any spare advisors. In fact, we do have a spare diplomat who has... No, we don't. I was going to say we have a spare diplomat who is, for some reason, come back from Munster. And the reason is Munster no longer exists because Munster has been taken over by Leinster. But that's fine because we're actually already working on making Leinster friendly. So we're not too bothered about that. So we could go for Ulster. But I think what we will do, for a little while at least, is we will go in to Portugal. And we will do some relationship improving there, just to try and keep Portugal on our side for the near future. While our other diplomat continues to strengthen relations with Leinster, we should be big enough to vassalise Leinster. Now, what you've got to remember is that it's harder to vassalise a bigger nation. Now, Leinster initially was only one province. It's now 3. But we could still potentially vassalise them. They still may be small enough. I think it's more to do with total combined tax base than actual hard number of provinces. So things may work out there. Let's have a look at Brittany. Brittany are rivalled with Provence. They are allied with Burgundy and Savoy. And they're actually in the coalition against us, which is a shame. It would have been nice to get Brittany on side. And obviously... going against them head-to-head in a fight isn't going to be fantastic. They have a Conquest CB against us. They hold provinces. Apparently we have provinces they have claims on. So, yeah, Brittany would be nice to get, but it may be a little bit more difficult to take that. Revolt Risks, we've still got those Patriots in Poitou. Units are still reinforcing very slowly because we have no manpower. Truce will expire. Our truces don't really start to expire until... Well, France will be 1970, so it's going to be a good long while before France can have a go against us. Same with Scotland. Loan is coming due. We could repay the loan. We have 7 loans. It's a massive amount of debt. We can afford to repay... Well, we can afford to repay one of them. Mind you, when it says a loan is coming due, it normally means it's coming due in, like, yeah, 2 years' time. It's going to be 2 years before that comes to pass. So, National Epic, we have a decision to make here. Yes, I love a good story. England gets National Epic until the 27th of August 1477, so that's 20 years. And that would give us +1 yearly prestige, and it would also give us 10... we'd lose 10 admin power, and we'd lose 30 ducats, or we can lose 5 prestige. We've got quite a bit of admin power, and while I wouldn't like to lose the money, getting some yearly prestige isn't a bad thing, so we're going to go ahead and take that. But we are also going to call that there, because there's not an awful lot more that I can do in this video. When we come back next time, we're going to try to continue improving our relations. Hopefully, might even be able to take on Ireland at this point. We're not going to go against them in a fight, because we do want to limit the amount of aggressive expansion that we get. We don't want everybody in Europe in a military coalition against us. And we'll see what we can do with Scotland. I mean, Scotland's opinion of us is not good. Let's be honest, it's not good. They want our provinces. They desire Aberdeen, Wessex, London, Oxfordshire, Lancashire, Northumberland, Cumbria, Kent, Essex, Gloucestershire, and 5 more. So basically, Scotland want the entirety of England. So the chances of us actually being able to get Scotland to be friendly with us is very, very, very low, just because they want those provinces. So we may have to take everything from them forcefully. They are allied with Tyrone, which are these guys up here. So not a massive problem to us at the moment. Although we do have a truce until 1470, so we can't do anything about them just yet. But we'll decide what we're going to do with Scotland when the time comes. So thanks a lot for watching, guys. I hope you are still enjoying Europa Universalis IV, and I'll see you on the next video. Until then, goodbye for now.